Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kisma. Guess what? I'm Kisma, and this is our 100th episode.
Woohoo!
Can't wait to chat. Hello and welcome to Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kisma, bringing you ancient wisdom for modern day success so that you can have the mindset to get your life and business set.
As always, thank you for tuning in. And if you're new to the podcast, take a quick second to hit the subscribe button in iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. If you want to get the inside info for this and every episode, as well as some free gifts, go to illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. And now let's dive in to get your mindset for your life and business set.
All right. Well, hello there, Nick. Happy 100th.
Happy 100th.
Kind of cool, right?
It is. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know people have been on, have thousands of episodes, but I feel like hitting 100 has shown a level of dedication, consistency that we perhaps struggled with at the beginning.
I would agree. Yeah. Yes, we did a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's come a long ways, from what we originally released it as. And
Kisma and the Dark Yogi.
Kisma and the Dark Yogi. That's right. Wow.
Used to be the Dark Yogi.
Lifetime ago, which was a fun name, but I think the Illumination Podcast is better.
I believe it's better.
But yeah, it has been a journey. It really has been a journey. And I so appreciate you, because I know that you have really played such a big part in keeping it consistent. Left to my own devices, it would probably look just like my my live videos, where I'm like on my personal page where I'm there and I'll do 3 or 4 great videos.
Yeah.
And get a lot of interaction and everybody will be excited, and then I'll disappear for a month,
Well, it's interesting because some of our dear friends have podcasts and they record, they'll pick days and they'll just record. And the nature of, I think, how we conduct ours and the nature for who we are, to do 5 podcasts in a day is not going to work. However, we have been able to chunk in certain recording days where we get a couple done and it's really fun, and we can still remain relevant to what's happening.
Well, that's one of the important parts to me about doing it that way, is that it stays relevant. Everything that we're doing is very present. It's in the flow of our own lives, so we're not talking about things here that are disconnected from our lives or things like that. It's really something that's very much in the flow of everything. And that's fun. I've had so much fun doing this with you, and I'm just really grateful to even have this, let alone to have all the listeners that we do.
Oh, you listeners, we love you and adore you
so much. It's just the coolest thing that we can do this and then beam it out there. And
I love getting messages from people. I listened to this podcast and I got it's the coolest thing. I'll have people just start talking about the entire podcast. I'm like, oh my gosh, you really listen. This is amazing.
Yeah, they really listen. Yeah. It's wow. I've gotten on the phone with people to talk about energy mastery, and they're like, oh yeah, and I listened to your podcast and this, and they'll tell me all the things I said. I'm like, I said that.
I love that
because it is in the flow.
It's in the flow. Yes, and this would give just a quick little plug. Nick and I, we've been working on this Ultimate Life Tool assessment. Some of you listeners have already taken this. This is an amazing. It's an operating system. You get to know what you are, and we've become certified trainers in this. It's been amazing. And the reason that we kind of talk the way we do and download is because we both have a lot of what's called SO. It's an effervescent energy that it just channels. It just comes, right? It's one of the pieces of taking this test. So if you're interested, there is a link to purchase the assessment. It comes with a full hour with one of us to go through it and talk to you about it. It was really life-changing for me. It's like taking 10 years off personal growth.
Yeah, it really
so I do want to
so many things.
Yeah, I do want to highlight that. We'll have a link in the show notes, because if you're into personal growth, spiritual growth, and you've done other assessments, this is very different. It is not subjective. It's based on what you are.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about it too, for me, is that there's only one person in the world that I know of who can actually do what that test does without the test, right? And like that's really cool for that one person.
Yeah, that one person.
Right.
And,
But for us mere mortals, like it gives a really simple assessment that a person can go through, and then you see it on paper. Like you literally just see it and you're like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And it's just clear and cleaner and tangible. So just giving it a plug. It's been great, everyone. So
I could go off on that.
I know.
I'm jazzed about the technology. Like it's really cool.
We'll get the
you combine
creator.
that with energy mastery, and it's just like, wow, like this is great. But okay, so 100th episode.
100th episode. Look, we've already spun out.
That's the everybody.
That's the
That's what that looks like.
So the 100th episode, we, of course, I want to give a shout out as well to Jason, who's been without Jason, this would not happen. Behind the scenes, making sure it's all up on our site. Tony's been doing show notes. So Danielle's been doing graphics for us and has new graphics. Check those out. Much love to her.
I love her design.
Yeah,
so
to
beautiful.
the team, thank you so much.
And to Chris, who does the audio editing.
That's right, Mr. Chris.
Chris has been around since the beginning.
We can't find anybody do audio like him. So much appreciation.
If there's any audio, if you ever find an episode that's a little substandard, it's because Chris didn't do it. That's the long and the short. I'd either try to do it myself, or
Chris writes, everyone.
Yeah.
He's just phenomenal. So, but anyway. Moving on. So 100th episode, we want to talk about gratitude. And, this has been something that's creeping up, as if I've never been grateful for anything, but it has been showing up at this ripe old age of 57 for me, where I'm looking at gratitude more and more. And Nick's making a face. Are you really 57? Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Grateful to be 57. Yeah. And
I'm grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're
and
amazing.
So what I've realized is that oftentimes, just to be perfectly transparent, I'd roll my eyes when people are like, oh, gratitude and gratitude journals. I'm like, that word has seemed so overused. And then I started to explore it and deeply in the deep spiritual teachings. And I was like, okay, there's a new show in town right now with this gratitude. And so we thought we would sort of dissect why gratitude, just 3 basic reasons why gratitude is so essential.
And just to be clear for everybody, like this is really a central part of, this is really a central part, and it's a central part about how we come to this show. Of every episode, I think about each and every one of the people out there who are listening. Maybe you're driving in your car, maybe you're listening to it on a walk or a jog or whatever that is, like all the different places that people listen to it. And I'm just like, wow, like I'm so grateful for the technology that allows us to get this out there. I'm so grateful for every person who's out there taking in the message. Like that's just the coolest thing to me ever. Like
Nick's Mr. Gratitude.
Am I getting, is it okay? I'll dial it back a little bit, but I just want you to know, like, I think that's important to know.
It really is. You people are busy.
It's true story.
Yeah.
# true story. Okay.
I love that.
Okay, good.
But let's talk about this word and why it is a life changer. So there's one very basic reason is when I call it the grateful mind. When you're in the grateful mind, you are directing your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions higher, right? So think about, you may have heard us talk about devotion. Devotion is love directed higher. So gratitude is like thanks directed higher. So when you're in gratitude, you're out of worry. And when you're in gratitude, you're out of self-pity. And I don't really like to talk about self-pity, but it's something that comes up a lot, and I'm seeing it a lot because people are working really hard. They're pedal to the metal. They're in burnout. They might not be getting what they want. So they tip into self-pity. And from the prosperity teachings, you've likely heard me say, self-pity will squash your prosperity. It just will put it out like lights. So when we're in gratitude, there is no space for the extreme worry. There's no space for self-pity. There's little space for anger and resentment.
It really is the foundation of true abundance,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to invoke divine abundance, the very first step to do that is to sit down and be grateful.
For what you have and what is coming your way.
Grateful for the chair that you're sitting on.
Right.
Grateful for every cell of your body,
right,
for that innate intelligence that magically is keeping your human functioning so that your soul has a home.
Right.
You know, like think about that. Like that's crazy. Like it's just, it's mind boggling, you know, but that foundation is laid through gratitude, and then the abundance can grow from there.
Exactly.
So I love how you bring that into it. And you've been reminding me of some things. Like just this morning, I was sitting there and Kisma's walking around and she's making her amazing smoothie and everything. And I'm like, hey, when you have a second, I could really use, one of your prosperity commands.
Yep.
And she gave me this beautiful command, and gratitude is a very big part of that.
Gratitude is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Gratitude can pivot. I mean, we know gratitude is a soothing emotion, right? So, and I'm not saying that one should always be happy or always be feeling good. That's not realistic. Again, we're human. We're going to have sadness. We're going to have sorrow, might even have anger. We don't want to dwell on anger. We don't want to dwell on resentment, things like that. But things like sadness show up, reflection, contemplation, even melancholy. Yet gratitude, when inserted, just elevates you. It has you facing the one supreme essence.
Yes.
Like God, Brahman, Atman, Source, whatever your word is, gratitude has you facing your true north, your creator.
It really does.
It does, because when you talk about the ultimate gratitude, you're like, I'm grateful this has been given to me. This has been made. Well, who's behind all of that?
Yeah. The miracles.
The miracles all the time. It's not just us. And make no mistake, we can do a lot by sheer force and will. And we'll talk about that more in another episode. Yet when we're in the grateful mind, it's like we open the doorway for things to flood in. Very big things. So gratitude, if nothing else, takes up space so we're not dipping into the lower vibe.
Now, when we talk about gratitude, you brought up the challenges that we have, right? And I think there's a nuance there to be grateful for the challenges, but not necessarily to like rose-colored glasses over them and to say like, ooh, it's not a challenge, it's a, or whatever, and to really downplay that. And it's like, well, wait a second. There are challenges in life.
Right.
There are obstacles, from point A to point B, and challenges that come up, and those things do need to be dealt with and handled. Gratitude certainly keeps your heart and your mind open to opportunity.
Right.
Right. But if you go too far with that and ignore it altogether, well, you're really just setting yourself up to be blindsided.
Yeah.
And what that ultimately is, which I think is very interesting, is a need to be right, that everything's going to be fine kind of thing, that pedantic.
And not have the respect of taking action or accountability or whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, we must handle the challenges coming our way. Yet much easier with that feeling of gratitude.
Oh, so much easier. Yeah. Because it's, it really does open heart energy. And when your heart energy is open, it's activated to engage with the world in a much more tangible way.
Right.
And when you're trying to do all that in your head, you're actually doing that from a place of lower resource.
Yes.
The heart is a massive resource.
Right.
The heart in your chest and the heart, you have two,
exactly.
The heart of the crown. So when those are both active and engaged, you got that open, and gratitude's the key.
Gratitude is key. Now, the other second piece I wrote down, there's 3 points I really wanted to cover. There's something called the law of gratitude. So look at it this way. When you send out gratitude to, I'll refer to the universe, God, Brahman, the supreme essence, the unique ultimate energy, whatever your words are, when you send gratitude there and your intention is, I'm so grateful to God or to the universe, it will never fail to reach that creator entity. I mean, it's difficult to talk about. It's just because we know it's all one. But it will never fail to reach your creator. It just won't. When the intention is behind it and you send gratitude, grateful to the universe, it reaches the universe. Now, the law of gratitude is that there's a direct reaction of the same, you could say, force or power. So as soon as it reaches the universe, which is pretty instantaneous, that essence of energy turns around and comes back as movement and momentum to you. It's like an instant fix of goodness.
It's an instant shift.
It's an instant shift. Now, it might not show up as like a stack of $100 bills that you want, or it could. but something is coming your way to elevate you. This is the law of gratitude. And when I started to look at it deeper, I was like, oh, no one's talking about this. It's true. It's instantaneous. It will, we could send a letter, it gets lost in the mail. We could send an email, and those emails that get lost in cyber. When you send gratitude to God, to the universe, it will never not be received. And because it's received, the turnaround is the same. You get this movement and momentum back to you.
All through gratitude.
All through just gratitude, not just, but gratitude. This is how powerful it is.
That's why it's an important practice.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it really does permeate every area of your life. I had an interesting story about this with healing where a gentleman was very, very ill, and his wife is freaking out, like as you might expect. She's super, super concerned for him, wanting to do everything that she can, but just really worrying. And in order to help her get out of that, because her worry is going to inhibit his healing process.
Right.
Okay. That's important to understand.
Yes.
Because you're not holding the space for the solution. You are holding the space for the problem.
Right.
And making that worse with all of the worry. So step number one is to get her worry out of the way.
Right.
How do we do that? With gratitude.
Right.
Right. I'm so grateful for my husband's healing.
Yes.
And that was soothing for her.
Right.
And it helped to get her back into the solution, that instantaneous shift. That's super powerful. And then his healing path starts to unfold in a much more different way, right? Without all of that worry and anxiety surrounding it.
Exactly.
Being projected on it. So it's not only for you, it's for the people around you too. But you're the direct benefit. You can't not benefit from having gratitude.
Exactly.
You just can't.
And the third reason, this is for all of you people that want to manifest and love creating your reality, and you're the architect of your life. Here it comes. Your manifestations, your expressions, what it is you desire to bring in will come in faster. And I'm even going to use the word with more ease. I'm a big fan of effort. I do believe we need to put effort and we need to take action. This is not about sitting on the sofa and just thinking. Yet your manifestations will come into reality with more ease when you're closer to source, when you're closer to the creator of. Well, guess what?
The great unknown.
The great unknown, universe, Brahman, God, whatever. When you're closer to that, the manifestations come in faster with more ease, and you're closer to that creator when you're giving gratitude.
Okay. And I want to just get one little point here that I'm sort of interested in your thoughts on, is when you say closer to, because when I think about that, it's that's the rich substance, it's everywhere. It's all permeating. When you say closer to, what do you mean by that?
Thoughts, your mind. Right, because we're in it.
So embodied.
Yeah, we're in that. Yeah, we can do a whole nother podcast on this substance of the universe that we manifest through. Heart, mind, intention is closer to.
Oh, so aligned.
Yeah, because
embodied.
How can we location? We're in the universe, right?
Yeah.
Yet we know that our thoughts can go off into really wicked, low vibe places. And so what are you going to bring in? That same vibe or frequency. So you want to think of that law of mind action. What you're thinking about, you're creating, you're drawing in. What you're thinking about, you're creating, you're drawing in. So when you're thinking about gratitude, your mind and your heart energies closer. And so the manifestations will be more of ease and faster.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's, for anybody that's wondering, that's my myrrh coming through.
Your myrrh.
It's a quality of kind of a perceptive quality, a sharp. It can be a little sharp,
sneaky,
and sneaky. Yeah. And but it's analyzer.
Right.
So that little nuance to me is important, because that's kind of well, how do you really think about this? How do you really experience it? And for some people that might make perfect sense, and then for some other people like me, it's okay, well, but that's already everywhere. So how do I get closer with it? And what you're really talking about is being aligned and embodied, really and truly in the flow of that movement,
accepting
that source, whatever you want to call that.
There's an acceptance that it exists.
Acceptance. Wow, that's a cool word. That's a really cool way to put that. Yeah, fully accepting that, available to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. See, I learn from you every time.
Oh,
I always learn from you.
Oh, aren't we special? So that's the thing, everyone. For one thing, number one, hold gratitude. Your mind is lifted up. right? You're in the higher aspects of your mind. Number 2, there's going to be goodness coming right back to you. It's like instantaneous, and you'll feel it. The more you're in it, you're like, oh, boy, this day's going well. You know, first thing, start your day with, it's going to be a great day. I'm so grateful for today. That's way better than I better check Facebook or I better check my email. I don't know. The worst way to start the day is to start opening up your phone. When I do that, it does not go well.
It does not go well.
It's going to be a great day. I'm so grateful. And your manifestations are going to come in faster and with more ease.
Yeah. Well, as long as it's the 100th episode and we're talking about gratitude, tell me, what are you grateful for? Just one thing. We'll bounce back and forth.
Just one thing. I'm grateful. Oh, it's so hard to pick just one.
Well, you'll get to pick more than one.
I'm grateful for wisdom.
Wisdom.
I'm not saying I have it. I'm grateful for the wisdom that I can acquire from certain teachers and information. I'm grateful for wisdom.
That's really cool. That's a
like
good one.
Philosophical wisdom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I am grateful for, for waking up today. You know, some people didn't.
Yeah.
And
that's morbid.
But it's true though.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not. It's really not. It's just like that's the cycle of life.
Cycle of life.
And I'm grateful to have another day to be able to do what I do and hopefully, you know, do something of value in the world. I think that's that's really important to me, and I'm grateful for that. Name another
My turn.
one.
I'm grateful for my clients and students. All you people listening, like just to have an interest in learning, utilizing higher teachings to make your life better. Like it completely blows my mind every day.
It really does. The way that people show up.
Yeah.
And really like they're thirsty, you know,
Right.
for this, and they're really ready and willing to make a shift in their lives. And I know that that's not easy.
Yep.
I know that it's not
Super
even
receptive.
It's not easy to even come to that conclusion, let alone take action on
Right.
it. You
Exactly.
know, and really follow through. And I'm just blown away by
Yeah.
that people do that, man.
Yeah.
I just think that's the coolest thing.
What about you?
What about me? I am grateful for you.
Oh, I was going to say I'm grateful for you the next one, but you stole it.
I got it. I got in there. No, I am because very grateful actually because it is it's little lost for words, which is not normal for me. But having a partner and somebody who really gets me and really supports me and really holds the space for my highest and best. Like that's just awesome.
Aww.
Like it really is. So I'm super grateful.
Well, I'm grateful that you get that. Sometimes I got to run to New York and other times I got to go to India and I just can't stay put. That's a little tough on Nick, but it's just something I do.
I know when you're getting restless and I mean, what are you going to do about that? You know, it's like at the end of the day, like, would I really want you here when you are being called somewhere else?
Yeah, that's good.
And I'm not always able or willing to travel with you. And so and that's my choice. And that's cool. And I get a little, a little time with the Leonard,
The Leonard. I'm grateful for the Leonard and the Sabrina. No, I'm super grateful for Zoe, my daughter, because I learn from her all the time.
Man, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's pretty smart.
Yeah. If she listened to this episode, she'd probably be a little embarrassed,
Might
but I really am just, I'm really grateful to know her. She's just an amazing human being. And I think you did awesome as a mom.
Thank you.
And she's a good one for sure.
Cool.
Let's do one more.
One more. I'm grateful for our surroundings. We're here in Carlsbad, California. It's a beautiful place. There's a beach, that beach, and wherever you are, like it doesn't have to be the beach. It could be the mountains. It could be the grass. It could be the desert. When I look at it, and sometimes it's so striking, I can't help but just be like, what the heck? Like, who made that? So for whomever the creator is, the universe, God, and all the people that have before us done their very best to try and explain it, I am very grateful.
The sunset tonight was ridiculous.
Oh, I was here.
It was. I was here too, and I was looking out the window though, and it was just the most rich pink and purple that I had seen in a really long time. Yeah, if I weren't right in the middle of a presentation, I would have just run outside and taken that in. I'm very grateful for living here too.
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for, I guess this kind of comes back to your first one, the particularly Energy Mastery, the tools and teachings that I've received from there and how they've impacted my life, as well as Vedanta. Like those are two things that have literally impacted my life in ways that I could never have imagined.
Right.
And truly so incredibly profound. Not one area of my life has not been profoundly impacted by those things.
That's so true.
And so I'm super grateful. Like, I don't know whatever needed to happen in order for those things to come my way in this lifetime. I don't know. And I'm just so
That's cool.
over the moon to even have access to that, because a lot of people don't.
Right. Right. Yeah. And as well, one more time, we're grateful for you. So thank you for listening. 100th episode of the Illumination Podcast with Nick and Kismet. If you're interested in the Ultimate Life Tool Assessment, there's a link to purchase that in the show notes. It's a great way to know what you are, what drives you, and to have an hour session with us as we lay that out and help you really have your own unique operating system.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, we should do, I could geek out on that
we'll
forever,
talk about
so
that soon.
we'll get more into it. But again, from my heart, so grateful for you, Kisma, for our whole team, and for every single listener. Thank you so, so much.
Have a great day. Namaste. Hey, thanks for jamming with us today. And if you enjoy Illumination Podcast, please go ahead and share it with someone you love. Give us a rating, review, download our podcast. And remember, you can find us at illuminationacademy.net/podcasts. Talk to you soon. Namaste.